Hello. Well, eagle-eyed viewers of this channel may have already noticed that this gray wall means I am in Laurent's apartment in Chartres. I'm in my favorite filming spot in this apartment because it's the only place where I get good light. We are running back and forth between Paris and Chartres quite a bit at the minute. We are both a little bit swamped with work. Laurent is doing a soloist part in Manor at the opera right now, and I saw him the other night, and guys, he was incredible. I was so proud of him. He was amazing. And I'm doing just random gigs here, there, and everywhere. So unfortunately what that means is that we haven't been able to make it to Everdeen for a little bit of time. And it's kind of killing me, to be honest. The weather has been just beautiful, and I just keep picturing the garden and thinking like, I could be relaxing in the garden. I could be doing projects in the house with the windows open. And no, I am here. I'm happy to be working. Honestly, I love my job. I love performing, but I wish I could be there too. Anyway, that's also left me at kind of a loose end for this week's video because I don't have anything new from Everdeen filmed ready to share with you guys. But, big but, I did come up with a solution, which was to make kind of an eclectic video for this week, and I actually really love how it's turned out. So first off, in our journey of eclecticism, is that a word? It is now. In our journey of eclecticism, we're going to follow along as Laurent and I found a moment this week to visit a museum in Paris that I've been wanting to visit for years, and I've just never done it, but we did find time to do that this week, and it was incredible. It was honestly one of my favorite museums I've ever been to, and we both walked out at the end and looked at each other and said, we have to go back, because it was just stunning. So this is the Musée Jacquemart in Paris, and we're going to follow along with our visit there, which was super fun. Secondly, we're going to continue our art theme because patrons have seen a little bit on the Patreon and know that I like to do art quite often. I took a lot of art classes as a child and as a teenager, and I like to come back to it, especially when I need to like think through something visual. And that really helped me this week because I was having some problems thinking about what kind of decor to go with in the new tiny little bedroom, the one that used to be the bathroom, but now we're transforming into a mini pocket-size, fun-size bedroom. I just didn't have like a clear mental image of what we wanted to do in there. So I did a piece of art about it, and that has really straightened out my plans. So I'm going to show you my art process and then give you a sneak peek into what the plan is now for that room. And finally, we're going to have an update from the helpers because I've gotten so many questions from you guys about, you know, what are they up to? How's their house? Are they moving to France? Do they have visas sorted out? All that kind of stuff. So I'm going to let them speak for themselves and give you guys an update straight from the horse's mouth, as it were. So that's what we're going to end off with today. So let's jump right in, and we're going to start with our visit to the Musée Jacquemart. The Musée Jacquemart is in the 8th arrondissement of Paris, and it's the home of a couple called Edouard André and Nelly Jacquemart, who lived here during the second half of the 19th century. Edouard André was the scion of a banking family, and Nelly Jacquemart was a society painter who had painted his portrait nearly 10 years before they were married. The museum today is a mix of seeing their beautiful home, gorgeously decorated, and seeing all of the works of art from around the world and across time that they collected during their lifetimes. It's a little bit of a surprise to find something so Chateau-like in central Paris, but you might also recognize it from the 1958 film Gigi, which was partially filmed here, and the 2002 version of The Count of Monte Cristo. Edouard André was particularly passionate about 18th century art, like this painting here, and you will see a lot of that spread around, but if that is not your jam, don't worry, there is a huge variety with all different eras and styles. Have you looked over there? There's a friend of yours.
Oh, it's cute.
Who is it?
It's Henry IV.
Who is from?
Who was born in Pau.
Like you?
And he was the best king.
Because he was from Pau.
Yeah, that's why.
All the best people are from Pau. One room I particularly loved was this salon de musique with the balcony open to the room. This balcony was to hold the musicians so that when guests entered the salon, they would feel like the music was drifting down from heaven. I also really enjoyed this room that was dedicated to embroidery. You can see in this furniture set how detailed the craftsmanship is. Just imagine how long it would take you to do all of this by hand, and then at the end it's only 4 pieces of furniture. It's just mind-blowing when you think about how taken for granted this kind of work is today. Speaking of textiles, there were also beautiful tapestries all over the house. Of course, I had to film this one because it is La Danse. You can see right in the center, there are 2 figures dancing. I thought the movement that they were able to capture in a tapestry was incredible. I also found one of my favorite wall fabrics I have ever seen. As you guys probably know, most of the time when you see walls like this, it is not wallpaper in historic buildings, but it is in fact fabric stretched over the walls, and this one I am obsessed with. But if decorative arts are not your thing, do not worry, because there are also some heavy hitters from the world of painting in here, including the museum has works from Gainsborough, Lawrence, Reynolds, Botticelli, Van Dyck, and Rembrandt in its collection. Somewhere after the Rembrandt was when Laurent discovered that he could give me an earphone from his phone and turn his phone into a walkie-talkie, and much fun was had. Last but not least, I'm going to show you guys my absolute favorite part of the museum. This is the winter garden, and it's sort of a very fancy indoor greenhouse. You can see it's kind of inspired by a Roman bath. There was a lot of Roman references in here, including the bust of Julius Caesar that you'll see right over the doorway back there. But what really made it my favorite was all the plants and how beautifully they were arranged to work with the art to give the room atmosphere. I also really loved how this bust and the statues seem to peek out from behind plants, so you just never know where you're going to find a new little surprise piece of art hiding. And speaking of surprise pieces of art, at this point I realized that I'd forgotten to film the beautiful ceiling in the Salon de Musique properly, and you can see how seriously we took that responsibility. Always professional around here. And then Laurent said, "Film me while I film you walking up the stairs." I assume that this is some sort of great art project, but anyway, here is Laurent's masterpiece, dual stair walking. Ah, so beautiful, so majestic, so artistic. That was so much fun.
It was very interesting.
I had no idea how big it was. That's my, I've been wanting to go to this museum for a while, but I was thinking oh, it's just, it's a smaller museum in Paris, so it'll be like an easy half-day thing. I feel like I need to come back because
Yeah, we do.
Honestly, it was so big that we didn't get through everything. So definitely on the list to revisit.
Yeah.
And I really loved that it's kind of partway between, I would say it's between something like Versailles and something like the Musée d'Orsay or a traditional art museum, because you see the beauty of the house, of the decoration and the architecture, but you also really see a lot of incredible art.
Yeah, and also the choices of the people, like the couple that lived here, and their choice of the thing they liked and they wanted to collect.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
It's so interesting. That was so much fun. I absolutely love that museum, and I will be back many, many times in the future. I plan to visit on a regular basis. But now let's shift direction slightly and go to a different form of art. Let's look at my little drawing / painting that I did to help me figure out the decor in the tiny new little bedroom. I have some of these pieces that I'm going to put in the drawing already, like the bed crown we already have, you've already seen it in some videos, and the bed itself we already have. But I'm also imagining some of the pieces and just kind of thinking about colors, thinking about how things go together. But Anyway, let's flash to when I was doing the initial drawing, which kind of helped me lay things out in my brain. And that was on the steps of the opera, waiting to go see Laurent and Manon. So you notice that that's in daylight, and then we're going to switch to when I was painting and coloring it here at the apartment. So if you notice a big change in lighting and scene, that is why. But let's jump right in. So of course I started out by doing the shape of my room. I decided to do the view only facing the bed because that's definitely where the most things are going to be happening in the room. The other walls, because the room is so small, are going to be not empty, but minorly decorated. This bed is one that we bought to be one of the 2 small single beds that we are putting in another bedroom. But actually, I'm thinking that I'm probably going to use it in here because, as you can see, it's the type of bed that has drawers underneath. And in a small room, I think that will be very, very useful for storage. And then we have the bed crown and the draperies coming down off the bed crown. And I'm thinking that we're going to have something back on the wall behind the bed crown, maybe a mirror, maybe a painting. But I think a round shape would be really nice. I also added in a little bit of extra art on the walls because you guys know I love to hang something on a wall. And so here is the basic idea. We've got the bed against the wall. We've got the draperies coming down around the sides of the bed. We've got something back in there behind the draperies just to add visual interest. And then the wind sabotaged me. And then we've got some more things hanging on the walls and the curtains next to the window. If you guys remember, the door is directly across from the window on that other shorter wall and directly across from the bed. In other words, where you would be standing if you were seeing this view. We're going to keep that wall pretty bare, not put any furniture against it, but put the big mirror that's kind of Italianate, beautiful antique mirror that we've got on that wall. So I kind of know what's going on there already. At this point, it occurred to me that I should also make a plan for the floor. So I went ahead and sketched in the floorboards. And then I thought we should have a rug. So I put a big rug, but then I thought that was too big. So I put a rug that just comes out from under the bed, just a little. And I think that's the right size. Next, I made a few copies of my original drawing and then printed them out so that I could have a few goes at this if I make a mistake doing the painting. I'm using watercolors, which are not my preferred medium, but I thought were really appropriate because we have the beautiful watercolor festival every summer right close to Everdeen. And then they were a little bit dim on the copies, so I traced over it with a black pen just to give myself a little bit more visible outlines. I also managed to, for a second time, forget that I needed to do the floor as well. So then I added in some lines for the floor. And I started to watercolor. Obviously the color of the wood floor is not going to change, so I knew that needed to be a reddish brown like it is now. And then of course the color of the bed is also not going to change, which is kind of a oak, kind of light wood color. So I added in that color for the bed frame. Then I spent about 15 minutes trying to mix up a convincing gold color, which was not easy, but I think turned out pretty good. And I'm just going to assume that all of the frames of the pictures are going to be gold because it's me. You guys know me. You know how I am. I also painted a just barely off-white for the walls. This is the room where we have the beautiful white wallpaper with like a gray pattern to it, but I wasn't going to paint all of that pattern. So I just added in the off-white just to give the idea of what color the walls are. Now my first thought was to do a pale green that's the same color as that mirror we're going to put in for the bed curtains and the various trims. But actually when I put in a more vibrant green, I really loved it. I think everything's too pale altogether. If it's all pale green, pale walls, pale carpet. I do think the carpet is going to be pale. That's something that this drawing really helped me sort out in my brain because I really wasn't sure what kind of carpet or even if we were going to put a carpet in here. I filled in the picture frames just with the same kind of color because obviously they're going to match the colors of the room. And then I redid some of the outlines just to make it a little bit more clear. And this is what I came up with. What this really sorted out in my brain is to show me we do need a stronger color of fabric for the bed draperies and the curtains. And we also need a lighter carpet. So those are the two things I really was waffling about. I really wasn't sure which direction to go with the bed draperies, but I feel like this has really sorted me out and given me some information that I needed. I think it came out pretty good too. Like I'm really not a watercolor person, but for my first real attempt at watercoloring, it's not too bad. I'll take it. Every time I do an art project like that, where I like have to make decisions and have to like really clarify things in my thoughts, it helps me so much figuring out what the decor will look like. To be honest, like the bed curtains, I wasn't thinking that rich of a color, but when I saw how light everything was looking on the paper, I was like, oh yeah, we do need a stronger color for the bed curtains. So I don't know if they're going to end up being exactly that color. Of course, it depends on what kind of fabric I can find in real life, but it really informed like what I'm going to look for. So I highly recommend that, even if you're not someone who is really into art, or if you're not someone who's trained in art. Just like if you're trying to picture something, if you're trying to visualize something, just getting a pencil and like trying to draw it, I find really, really helpful. Anyway, moving on, let's hit the third act of our video today, and I will, without further ado, just cut straight to the helpers. So here you go, let's hand it over to the helpers.
Hello, Everdeeners, it's the helpers here. You know how Cara likes to do the walkthroughs with us, so we see several rooms, and I'm going to try that today in a house that we're moving out of to show you the chaos that we created here before we go to the chaos that she's living in a house she's restoring. So I'm going to take you through 2 quick rooms just to see our progress. All right, phase 1, or maybe phase final, is what happens when you turn a bedroom into an emptied out room. And that's our goal, is to keep emptying, to keep making those trips to Goodwill and St. Vincent de Paul. We haven't gotten as far in this room, which was once a bedroom, but as you can see is now a scattered tool room. And we've got a bit further to go here. So you can see what we're dealing with as we end May and get ready to move into summer when we hope to depart.
Oh, hey.
Hi, we're packing. What are you doing?
Well, just getting some of this stuff together to take. You know, I thought I'd take this guitar, but I got to get my case for that. And I'm just a few things. My banjo, because I know how Carol loves to hear it played, you know, and I don't want her to be disappointed or anything.
Cara, that banjo is for you. Your favorite instrument, right?
I know. I got just my camera stuff and a few tools here because, well, we're working on the house and you got to have the right tools to do it with.
And there weren't any tools over there.
And my keyboard, because we don't have a piano at the house yet, so I got my keyboard. So
okay.
That's about all that, and some clothes and all that kind of.
And what are you going to be packing in?
Well, I got my camera stuff here and my, you know, they call it fanny pack.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put that on. I'll take that there. I think it'll zip up in there. Yeah. And then, let's see. I got my day pack there. And, like
you
that.
might have needed a little longer day pack.
No, that's fine right there. You know, it's supposed to be anything that'll fit. Well, anything that'll fit in your overhead bin. I don't see a problem with that, do you?
I don't know. Are there going to be any other flyers on this plane?
Wait a minute. And there's that there. I think that'll do. There you go. Like this here.
Uh-huh.
There we go.
And don't forget
And
your
all I got to do is
keyboard.
put a few more clothes in there. a little bit of tools, and that's about it. Okay, you think that'd be okay?
Are you ready?
Okay, see you at Everdeen.
So once we get the house cleared out, of course we've got to get gathered up the stuff we're going to take with us. Before we even go, we've got to get that long stay visa, and we've read about it and we've heard about it, and apparently the secret is to have a lot of documents. So I wanted to show you our documents. You see, we've got a lot of documents in here, and you think that'll be enough? We've been gathering these up for quite a while, and we'll be taking these to the company that processes them for the French embassy, we hope real soon. Then there's just packing. We've been gathering some things, some gifts we want to take to Cara and Laurent and the boys. That part's always fun. And the clothes that we still have over here, most of them are already over there. And that's about it. When you think about it, I need to take reading material, but that's in my phone. And I need to take business papers and medical records and things like that. That's in my phone. So this phone's going to come in real handy. There is, however, one thing that's an object that I can't leave behind, even if I have to leave my clothes behind. It's one of those things that's been in my life as long as I can remember. Have you got those? Never remember a time when it wasn't in my mother's kitchen. I think it might have been in her mother's kitchen before her. And here it is. It is this probably 75, maybe 80-year-old jar opener, lid loosener. And it's one of those things that in the kitchen you just can't live without. So whatever else I leave, I will be taking my jar opener. So I guess I'm just about ready. See you soon over in Everdeen.
Well, there you have it. That was our little eclectic video for the week. And actually, I really enjoyed putting together kind of a 3-act journey through some different topics. It was fun to kind of bounce around a little bit. So if you guys enjoyed this, please do give it a thumbs up, and also let me know if you wanted to see a few more little kind of random bits and bobs. You know, with YouTube, I'm sitting here in a bedroom all alone talking to a camera. So it would be much easier if I could talk directly to you guys. And sometimes I can on the live chats on these videos. But, you know, the way that you can tell me what you want to see or what you're interested in is in the comments. So please do leave a comment and tell me what you want to see more of, if you like stuff like this. Obviously, the focus of this channel will always be Everdeen and the work that we're doing there and the construction and the projects and all that. But I'm very happy to throw in extra bits and bobs when you guys want to see them. Also, if you really want some extra bits and bobs, please do consider becoming a patron, because we have all the extra patron videos over there. There's all kinds of things happening. That is very eclectic, if I say so myself. But yeah, please do consider becoming a patron. The link is right down below this video, and you can go over and just have a look and see if it interests you, see if it's something that you'd be interested in. And also please do hit subscribe below this video, because subscribing to this channel is extremely helpful and extremely appreciated. And thank you so much to all of you guys who are already subscribers. You guys, you're the best. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Big thank you to our patrons, because you are also incredibly appreciated, and we love you guys. So thank you so much. Next week, I am going to be back at Everdeen. However, I don't know if I'm going to be able to film something and get it finished and ready for Monday night in time. So possibly we will have a new Everdeen video. Possibly we will have another recap video showing the entire journey of one room or one part of the house from where it was when I bought the house 4 years ago to now. So you guys will have to tune in and see. And at the very least, we're going to have a new Everdeen video in 2 weeks. So that is the plan, and with that, I need to run to rehearsal and hop on my hoop to get ready for my gig this weekend. And I will see you guys next time.